Hi, in this video we will discuss about the term contemporary classical music, a term that is being discussed by many academics today. And my name is Rafael Lasso and welcome to my channel of music composition. So what exactly is contemporary classical music? Well, you have classical music. Classical music stands for the classical period. Classical period of music, it's from 1730 around 1820, somehow like that. But in Spotify or in the real world, classical music means all the traditions of European tradition of orchestral music. Comes from even from Renaissance, from Baroque, classical period, from the Romantic, the Impressionistic, the Modern, the Postmodern, and all the others. They're encompassed in one term, that is classical music. But this classical music term has another term there that is contemporary. So classical music, the term, it's kind of a bad term for describing the current state of what composers and interpreters are doing in this tradition of music. So as many people say contemporary classical, it's an oxymoron. Classical by one side and contemporary by other. They're opposing themselves, they're contradicting. But we don't have a better term, and it's already been coined and people already use it. So I'm going to explain what kind of aesthetics or what kind of sounds you will found. So first, before I talk about the aesthetics and the sounds and the techniques, I want to mention that this is a tradition of music rooted in Europe, which I think it's very important to mention for the explanation. After I will mention. But the thing is that in the 20th century, what is known as classical music that you already know if you see this video, the classical music had a break with the dodecaphonic technique and the avant-garde and the modern school. It had a break because it usually was to represent God and to represent beautiness and the excelsus human spirit. Now it represents a more visceral, more atrocious, more monstrous energy, which is 20th century industrialization and all the ferocious and, I don't know, that savage way of living that we are. And I think that's how serialism and all modern art express itself through confrontation and through dramatic methods of communicating. The inventors of the dodecaphonic technique, Arnold Schoenberg and its disciple Alban Berg, one of the important moments of contemporary classical music was the death of Alban Berg, 1935, and probably the end of World War II, 45. This context propelled this dissonant way of composition. This tried to be more free from tradition, and free from form, and free from dogma. After the dodecaphonic revolution, it came the electroacoustical one. The electroacoustical revolution is in the 60s with Boulez and Stockhausen. And those folks used integral serialism, a more drastical and a more somehow scientific technique of deconstructing music. This really had an impact, a profound impact in concert music, which is felt till today. One of the other facets of contemporary classical music, it's the approach of extended techniques. Extended techniques, in and of itself, it's a controversial term because it's like contemporary classical. It doesn't melt, but Anyways, people understand it. So I'm talking about extended techniques. Extended techniques stands for techniques that try to go beyond the notes that are on your instrument. For example, you had a flute. You can add some air to the notes, or you can make some with the morphology of the flute. You can do some bibis glandos, or do some microtones, or do some kind of different way of interpreting the same notes of that instrument with different approaches. Some extended techniques are more effective than others. For example, some are very, very, even you cannot hear them, but some of them are really effective. The effect of extended techniques, it's been felt on concert music as a whole too. It's common language now. If you want to check about more, probably like flute, I will start with Robert Dyke, The Other Flute. It's a good book. I had it. So it's contemporary classical. Some say it's the death of Alban Berg. Some say it's composers who are alive right now. Some say that it's music from the 20th and the 21st century. Anyway, it doesn't matter really. It encompasses all the more contemporary or more modern approaches to music. The more right now, what is happening right now. So, I want to talk about now the minimalist school. The minimalist school of music, for me, they are a lot of like what is chamber music, and for me they classify as contemporary classical, but for others it doesn't classify as contemporary classical. It's felt that the aesthetics of this tradition, it's also been influenced by its history, and its history, it's Europe. So United States arrived to the scene and they have a different history and different background. So minimalist, I think, was their fair expression. I also know that in Netherlands, there are also a good group of minimalists too. That is worth to check it out. So minimalists are orchestral. Yes, they are orchestral. So minimalists use contemporary techniques like serialism, not so much. Sometimes post-minimalists like some serialistic techniques, but they use more the minimalist school of repetition approach and all the phasing stuff. So, contemporary classical is the tradition of European orchestral music. What I think that is changing because the interconnectivity and the vast amount of change in music industry, that contemporary classical is getting more, it's European based, but it's getting more spread out in the world. So probably in the future, composers of Latin America, composers from other places of the world would be important too. Because for now it's for Europe and a little like from America. It's my opinion that the contemporary classical should be more spread out in the world. But conservatories and music schools of what is the classical music, they follow the curriculum of what it's been taught in Europe. That's a reality. I live in Lima, Peru, and here we have also composers. But we need a context to be more plausible to share our compositions. So that's why I'm taking this time to make videos and to try to disseminate this information about contemporary classical, because people usually don't understand really well what we are trying to say. Hit me in the comment section and tell me another topic you would like to discuss, and open ears for you. So see you on the next week. Bye.